Das macht man nicht. It was my first week living in Germany, and I was walking back to my new apartment downtown after a night at dinner with my new coworkers. It was an empty street, no cars, nobody around, so I stepped off the curb to cross. And that's when I heard a voice behind me, Das macht man nicht. One does not do that. Now, there's nobody around, so I know this voice is talking to me, and I turn around and there's an older German gentleman, probably in his 50s, standing back on the curb where I'd just been. I must have passed him without noticing, and he said it again. And I didn't speak any German. I just stared at him. And then he pointed at the crosswalk sign, Es ist rot. And that I understood. I grew up loving German cars. Rot meant red. And I realized he was telling me I should have waited for the signal to change from green to red, even though there wasn't a car anywhere in sight. Now, I just finished law school in New York. Crossing a street was like a finely honed skill. It was a point of pride. Every New Yorker knows how to read an intersection. Crosswalk signs aren't even suggestions in New York, but in Germany, apparently, to this gentleman, huge deal. So the next day, I told my coworkers about this experience, and they laughed, and they're like, yeah, well, welcome to Germany. That's how it is here. In fact, one guy told me that he was power washing his patio on a Sunday, and a German woman came over and scolded him because he was violating quiet hours. And he goes, it's an electric power washer. The thing's not even that loud. But it didn't matter. That's just how it was. And so, fine. A week later, I bought my first car in Germany, and I started taking the Autobahn to work, and something started to click. Nobody on the Autobahn drives in the left lane unless they're passing. You don't camp there, never. And if you think you're going fast, there's a 100% chance a black Audi station wagon will suddenly appear behind you, flashing his high beams like you're standing still. But when you're out there on the highway with no speed limit, the road is as smooth as glass. You can actually unlock the full potential of your car's performance. You're operating at the very edge of your risk tolerance. That's an extreme kind of freedom that we simply don't have in the United States. And it feels incredible. I realized later that it only works because of trust and predictability. Limitless speed is not possible unless you can predict and trust what everyone else is going to do. And you can't do that unless everyone else is fully bought in at all times. The guy on the curb telling you that the light is red. The woman correcting you for power washing on a Sunday. The driver in the Audi flashing his highs because you're sitting in the left lane. Gen Z might call them Karens, but they're fully bought in on compliance. And without them, you don't get to drive 150 miles an hour on the highway. You can have a million rules sitting in a Teams folder, but without everyone being bought in at all times, you don't have trust. It only takes one misstep, right? One unsignaled lane change to destroy everything. Everyone knows compliance builds trust, but most organizations stop thinking there, right? Because compliance doesn't move the bottom line. But what comes next does. Because compliance builds trust, and trust reduces friction. When trust exists, fewer things need to be checked twice. Fewer decisions stall because someone needs reassurance. Employees make decisions without waiting for approval because they understand the boundaries. Partners share information without layers of protection. Customers adopt products faster because they don't worry about how their data will be used. That's what makes the limitless Autobahn possible. The speed is not the point. The trust is. The same thing happens inside organizations. Compliance builds trust. Trust removes friction. And when a company builds a true culture of compliance, peers correct small problems before they become regulatory ones. The organization becomes predictable. And when predictability exists, friction disappears. Regulators give more room. Partners move faster. Markets open sooner. Companies without trust accumulate friction, right? Decisions require proof because trust hasn't been earned. But organizations that build trust earn something different. The ability to move fast because everyone around them trusts they'll stay in their lane.